So, my final aspect of a new vision is a vision on public transport, and this vision is based on a publication by John Takara. It's about public transport, but this is just an example. I would like to show this to you because he is using a design approach in 5 steps, 5 phases he calls this, and this design approach looks a lot like the website for design tools that we are going to use in the course. So, but this is different, it's developed completely separate from the design tools that you are going to use, but it's completely the same idea, and this is why I would like to show it to you. And it's published in 2008, and actually you will be able to find it on the web. So if you Google, you will still find it on the web. So maybe you would like to have a look at. So, the first phase, John Takara says, is the diagnose. So the design team, so this is 5 of you working together, will have to define what is the project and what is actually the type of challenge we are going to approach and in which way are we going to resolve it. So you have to specify, I guess after talking to the client, and talking to the client will be about 2 weeks from now, I guess, if we are lucky, right? And after talking to the client, you as a group have to specify this is the project, this is what we are going, because your client might have many challenges. And you might see opportunities for 10 completely different solutions, which is too much for a small group that's just starting and has only 3 months. So you have to decide, this is what we are going to approach. You make your choice, you set up your project. And so you have to use already techniques like talking to the people, talking to the client, and maybe the client already has customers at the moment. So if the client is somebody who keeps a bed and breakfast, there will already be people who are visiting the bed and breakfast. So you might want to ask whether you could also interview them. And you might actually be observing people. So sometimes it makes sense to just look at what's going on in the shop. Right? Just see how people work, who is entering, who is leaving, what are they doing actually. So techniques, and these are techniques that you definitely will have to use. So you cannot just talk to one person and say this is enough. No, you have to systematically ask and you have to systematically observe. Okay? This is the first phase. Now, you have a picture of the type of business of your client. And now you have to go deeper than in the first part. Now you have to develop a good insight of what's going on. And you need techniques like ethnography, for instance, which means you need to understand the culture. You need to understand the community in which your client is working. And so you have to watch and understand. Well, the ethnography could take a very long time, which we don't have. So you have to use these types of techniques in a way that fit your project. So you always have to keep in mind, and last year I found out sometimes this is difficult for us, but you have to keep in mind that you spend only so many hours on a certain technique. So ethnography could go on for half a year, full time if you want. But it's not possible for us. So we should decide, we spend 8 hours on ethnography each, all 3 of us, or all 5 of us. So set your time and be precise so that it fits the whole project. Because otherwise you find out that at the end of the course, 4 months from now, you did a perfect ethnography and that was the end of the story, because then the time was up, right? So set your time and don't use techniques that you like till the end. But you need to understand. So you need to understand the community. Now Takara is talking about transport, so he's talking about drivers, but in your case might be hotel guests or might be people who rent cars or whatever, right? So could be a completely different situation. Set your techniques and decide how much time. And we call this co-discover, right? We are now as a team discovering how the world of your client actually behaves. What happens in the world of your client. Now, if you discovered enough, which also means if you spend the amount of time that you gave yourself for this, then the next step is to co-design. Oh, by the way, I will help you in a way because each 2 weeks we step in a way into the next phase. So at a certain moment I will tell you, now we have done this, we have been co-discovering, starting today we are going to co-design, right? So I will push you to the next step in a way, but you have to do that, otherwise you will not finish it. So now we have to make decisions to come up with dreams, at least. Question?
What do you mean by the co?
A co means two things, and Takara is not very clear, this is his words. But when I'm not talking about it based on the toolbox, I will certainly tell you that co means that you are doing it as a team, that's one, and you are doing it together with the client and the people in the shop of the client. And there's a very strong reason for that. If you are co-designing, sorry?
So it's some kind of a short-term cooperation.
No, collaboration. Collaboration. So whenever you come up with an understanding, you should not only in the team agree on understanding, which is it's co-discovery, but the client should agree on your understanding. So if you get a feeling about the shop, you should go to the shopkeeper and tell him or her, I now understand this is how your shop runs. So you collaborate with the people that you are designing for. And here now you are actually coming up with ideas and you are sharing the ideas again with the client. So co means that you work together. So it's collaborative discovery and collaborative design. And the techniques that we are going to discuss are especially techniques to be done in that way. I will give you just one example. One of the techniques is just sketching on paper with a pen or a pencil, sketch things. And you can use sketching in a way that if she is the client and I'm the designer, we could put the paper here and we could each have a pen and I could sketch and she could sketch in my hand. We are actually at the same time, you'll find out, people are actually drawing together and they're taking the pen from the other and then giving it back and they're together putting a sketch of what they are talking about. So this is what the code means. Right? And John Takara, in a way, he's not elaborating it here. But this is what we should do. So, apart from the fact that he said that we should do this so that we got ownership and involvement. So this means if you design something, this is not something that you invent and you tell the client, this is my solution, but when it's finished, the client and you agree, this is our solution. We develop the solution together. Right? So this means we are all owners of the solution and we are all involved. Okay? And then we have to work out. And again, it says co. So this means during the whole project, and Selena has to be aware of this, the clients will always be involved. So I'm afraid each week people will come to them and say, can you have a look? Because we are now developing this, and what do you think? Should we go this way? Should we go that way? And then the client will say, maybe you go that way. So we are always working together. Right? And again, the community should understand what's going on. So it should not be something that you finish and then you throw it over the wall and say, here's my solution. No, it's our solution we have been working with from day one till the last day. Okay? And this is what I hope you will do. And this is why we are using several of these techniques. All the time to communicate between the design team, which is you, and the client. And maybe even the customers of the client. Okay? And then finally, the solutions are delivered. And it says, as the solutions are curated and tested, and actually we have a test phase also in our outline of the course, so all these phases that John Tucker is mentioning are part of the course. So each 2 weeks we will take the next step. So testing is the next step, and then we have, in the end, delivering the products, which the examination actually literally means, hopefully the client will be here, and each team will spend half an hour to explain what they did to the client, and the client should already know actually, because we have been collaborating, and to give the final design product in the presentation and in the document, where the document describes how the client could now have it really implemented. So maybe that could be a sketch of a website and a sketch of timetables, and then you hand the complete documents to the client. Okay? So John Tekra provide this as a project to design transport, actually like train transport. We can just use it for our project, whatever your client